Hi, I'm the Los Angeles City bus driver, okay? There's a lot of other bus drivers out there who don't like to wear the mask, but just between you and me, they're probably gonna get sick and die, okay? I like to wear my mask religiously, okay? Because that's the science. That is the science, okay? It stops transmission, it stops everything, okay? It's like an impenetrable thing that stops anything from coming through, okay? And people like James come on here and get on my bus, okay, not wearing a mask, trying to stand within 6 feet of me, and I'm like, James, that's not 6 feet. Read the sign, James. Read the sign. I know you what the sign says. I told you last time. Read the sign, 6 feet behind the yellow line. James, that's not 6. James, do I need to go back there and do another demonstration for you, James? Okay, James, here we go. Let's waste everybody's time. Let me get up out my seat. Let me do some work here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, behind here, okay? Behind here, that's 6 feet. Okay, I told you before, I'm telling you again, 6 feet, okay? And then James, smart Alec, James comes and says, well, look at these seats in the front row. There's people sitting in these within the 6 feet. I'm like, James, you don't know the science, James, okay? The science, my science says when you're sitting down, it's like flipping off a switch, okay? It's on, off, on, off, and you're less likely to spread it when the switch is off. So these people up here are fine, James, okay? So stay back behind here. I know you like to stand up. I know you don't like to sit down, but you need to stay behind the 6 feet, okay? Because that puts up an impenetrable wall that stops anything in its tracks, okay? Okay, stay back here and let's go. And then he tries to tell me all this science. He has no clue about science. He tries to tell me about science, okay? I'm like an expert on science. I've seen it all on TV, okay? He tries to say, oh, well, what about equilibrium? I'm like, equilibrium? I never heard about no equilibrium on TV. What you talk about equilibrium? He tries to say that all these people on the bus, 50, 60 people, when they're breathing air out, like particles. He says particles, when they're in the air, they keep spreading and spreading until they reach equilibrium. Like they spread out equally throughout the bus, especially with the windows closed, the doors closed. It's going to spread equally throughout the bus. And he's trying to tell me I'm breathing in all these people's sickness and bacteria and all their breath. I'm like, James, you don't know science. You don't know about the impenetrable wall that happens when you stand 6 feet back. Kind of like when you go to a restaurant and you're eating, okay? The sickness doesn't exist anymore when you're eating, okay? Only when you stop eating, that's when it exists again, okay? The sickness is standing over there by the corner like just looking for people. Who can they infect? Let's see, who's not eating that I can infect that doesn't have their mask on? And when someone doesn't have their mask on and they're not eating, boom, they pounce on them. Okay, that's the science. Okay, James doesn't know the science. And so then I tell him that, and he says, have you ever smelled someone's fart? I'm like, fart? What you talking about farts? We're talking about sickness. We're talking about impenetrable walls. And you talking about farts? And he says, that's equilibrium. Particles spread throughout the air until they reach equilibrium. I'm like, James, I'm here talking about science. I'm here talking about genius stuff, and you're talking about farts, okay? Who's right and who's wrong? Okay, I think the person not talking about farts is the one who's right. Moi, okay? So let's just be quiet, just stay back 6 feet, and we'll be fine. Let's get this show on the road and stop wasting people's time, okay? And James, Mr. Smart Alec, comes back and says, well, if you don't want to breathe people's air, if you don't want to be, breathing in this sickness, maybe you shouldn't drive the bus if you're so afraid. James, how many times do I need to tell you there's an impenetrable wall? Okay, I know science, okay? There's an impenetrable wall that nothing can get through. That's why I'm not afraid. If I didn't believe in science like you, and I didn't realize there was an impenetrable wall, I wouldn't be driving the bus. But since I know there's an impenetrable wall, then I am going to continue driving. So stay back 6 feet so I can have my impenetrable wall, and we could all be safe. We could get our James, get off the bus, James. Get off.